All right, Popo, are you there?
I'm loud and clear.
All right, great. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Uh, I've got Popo and Duck here in audio form. It's nice enough to join us today for the dozen. Thank you for joining us, Popo.
I was able to write you in full schedule.
I appreciate that. I know you're busy. We'll try and keep this short for you. I know you've got ducks to feed and whatnot. Uh, well, everybody in the chat, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And everybody out there who just watch us, thank you. We are talking about an event that we did last year and had so much fun. We're going to do it again. It's called the Dirty Dozen. Basically, this is a celebration of that time when games were still new, were unknown. A lot of the adults would look at you with side glances because you were playing those silly video games. And they were a great escape. They still are today, but the difference is back then they were a lot harder to come by. So as a result, whatever games you had around the neighborhood, good or bad, you'd played them. Popo, can you think of any games that as a kid you played that today may be looked at as just absolutely terrible, but you loved it because it was something you had around the house or around the neighborhood?
My bad, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, Thunder.
Thundercade. Is that,
People hate on Thundercade, but that was one of the few games I had that was like me and my cousin could.
right. Oh, you're cutting out a little bit. Not exactly sure why. Right. Thundercade, I definitely on paper, even today, yeah, it's pretty bare bones, doesn't look very good, but I can totally understand why you got into it. Uh, you still there, Popo?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I still had you. You cut out there for a second.
checking my second setting, see if I wasn't.
Yeah, you seem to be cutting out after about 3-4 seconds there. You keep working on it. Me, I can't think of a game that I really liked back then. Let's see. Ooh. I mean, I remember playing a lot of Rolling Thunder. And Simon's Quest 2. I don't know why Simon's Quest 2 gets a bad rap, but we had a great time with it all the way back then. I don't know that we owned that, but we rented it and played right through it. So, anyway, that's the point. You know, there were games that Karate Champ, I can remember playing Karate Champ. Nobody liked that, but I liked it. Oh, why are we losing you? You're cutting right out, man. This is terrible.
I don't know what's. It's my.
Maybe you need to reset or something. You know how to come back in, right? So the channel's open. You can come and.
Yeah, I'll be right.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and give her a reboot. Karate Champ was awesome. Karate Champ was great in the arcade, not so much on the NES. That being said, I still enjoyed it, mainly because of the setting. You're in that little enclosed arena. This was the days before Street Fighter was even out. So the idea of being able to, fight a guy mano a mano and be judged over it, very unique, setting for the NES. And despite it being not a very good port and not that great compared to other games today, I had a great time with it. So Bovine says he understands. Karate Champ was awesome. Deadly Towers, I'm hearing from Sherboy. I could totally see Deadly Towers on paper if you had nothing else being great. I could totally get that. Track me to the Power Pad, sure. So yeah, last year we tried this. Basically, I had sent Popo some video games back before he was really in the retro scene. He'd been playing some Castlevania, streaming it. Said he didn't have a lot of games, just basically a handful that he had when he was a kid. And to return the generosity that he gave to me, he sent me a box of games. I sent him a box of Nintendo games. Now, these were games that I handpicked for him. I knew he wouldn't have a lot of games, so I wanted to make sure he had some games that lasted. So I got him Wizards and Warriors, Pinbot, Legacy of the Wizard, Solstice, Fester's Quest, Mission Impossible, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Ultima, Exodus, Track and Field 2, Cobra Triangle. Ah!
Nice, bud.
Yeah, nothing like dropping boxed NES games. You got here just in time to give me the business. All right, there we go. And
Give me the bismuth.
Star Tropics. He's in here. He's floating around. I think that's it. I think I may have gotten two Mission Impossibles in here, but that was basically it. So this Dirty Dozen, at the time, I bought them for longevity's sake. Later on down the line, we decided to turn this into an event for a whole month. He happened to have those games. And, what an experience, huh, Popo?
That was something else. How's my audio?
Now you sound excellent. You sound excellent.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, no, what it was interesting to see what games I was excited about, like February 1, and then what games I was just ready to get rid of February 28th.
I have a question. Before we decided to put ourselves into that biosphere and do that for a month, you had those games for a couple of years. Did you play any of them during that time?
I would certainly fire up Tiger Heli and Track and Field 2 being the most. Track and Field 2 just for nostalgia's sake, that's one we have way.
Yeah,
and that was one that, once I figured out it was who could push the fastest, it was just I was king. I loved.
Right, it was competitive, but it was also very easy interface. I think early on when me and Popo met, that was one of the first games he and I connected on together. So
first,
you're cutting out again. We're killing it. This is a shame. I'm not sure why this is happening. We've done this before. I don't think it's...
Oh no, is my internet being...
I don't know. I don't have anything else going on over here. Only thing I'm having a problem with is you, buddy. You're the fastest presser on Earth, says Mashed Potato Tower. I think myself and Popo would be willing to, more than happy to meet you at the arm wrestling table in Track and Field 2 and really settle that. It's Popo. He's a Laggerton. Okay. Well, we'll continue on then. Thank you. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think it's on my end now. Used to play Action 52 and the summer games. I can't imagine having Action 52 as one of the neighborhood games. That must have been interesting. Played a lot of Mag Max, says Craig. Big fan of Mag Max. We actually have it here. Let's take a look at Mag Max real quick. I know we're lagging here. I'm sorry about that, but we're all on the subject of these games we grew up with. Mag Max, what is this, like a $2 game on a good day? But hey, it's a shooter. You got a big robot here. I'm having internet issues during you were having internet issues during your stream. Okay, Popo. All right, well, we'll just roll with it, buddy. You've got that big pink name, so you're going to be easy to see. So if you have something to add, we'll bump you to the top of the list, because I know everybody wants to know your thoughts on this stuff. So we'll make sure to address it as we go. Thank you, Jay. Here's Jay in the chat here once again saying Cobra Triangle, Fester's Quest, Legacy of the Wizard, Mission Impossible, Pinbot, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Solstice, The Quest for the Staff of Demnos. Does anyone actually call Solstice that? Star Tropics, Tiger Heli, Track and Field 2, and Ultimate Exodus, and finally Wizards and Warriors. So again, games that I handpicked, games that I felt would give him a lot of replayability. And then they eventually turned into the Dirty Dozen, which was great because we at least knew going in that month, a year ago, we would have games that we could really sink our teeth into. Games that would last. This dozen was picked under completely... Dirty Dozen 2020 was picked under completely different circumstances. Basically, the dozen we have in front of us, we're about to present to you today, came from a lot that I found at a pawn shop. I walked into this pawn shop, and there were about 30 or so games. And they were asking $2 each, or at least that's how I got them. We worked it out where it was $2 each. And there were many games there that were not even worth buying for $2. For someone who maybe didn't have any NES games, there were definitely some games that were worth $2. I remember Marble Madness was in there. Some of the Dirty Dozen games from last year were in there. Mission Impossible was in there. A couple of Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunts. So a number of them we left behind, even at $2. Pinbots seemed like loads of fun. It is, even to this day. However, there were a number of games that I did see picking through this lot at the pawn shop that I felt, even though we had them, were worth grabbing for $2 each. And it wasn't until a week or two after, well, maybe not a week or two, but after I had looked at the lot, got it home, left the other ones behind, that I realized I had 11 games in front of me. And I thought, well, wow, there's 11 games here. This is a dozen. The 12th game was a pinball game. They had pinball for the NES. I didn't feel like picking that up for $2. But if we added a pinball game to it, gee whiz, we have 12 games here. And the beauty of it is, this isn't a lot I handpicked for this event. It just happened to be the lot that I felt was worth walking out the door for that price. So, this is not a lot that was designed for someone who's out in Hobunk, Texas, with only a few Nintendo games. This was not a lot made or designed to last. This was a really random lot. This is as close to walking into a garage sale, finding a shoebox full of NES games, and getting the heck out of there as possible. So the big difference between last year and this year is, last year, those games, no problem would last us. This year, I don't know. I really don't know. So, without further ado, worked it out, quote unquote, is code for Raz saying I strong-armed them. That's good, Sam. It's very good. Without further ado, let's get to it. Now, the way the analysis tends to work is, this isn't just going to be, let's run down the games, let me just show them to you. This isn't just a flat lot and then we're out of here. Okay? We're stuck with these games for a month. So, it's important for us to try and get invested with them as much as possible. So, what I've done here is we're going to go through each game quickly, somewhat. And then I've handpicked some videos that will give you kind of an idea, not just about the gameplay, but the setting that these games take place in. Okay, does that make sense? Oh, looks like we have a little host here from Next Soji Stoner. The original Stoner. Thanks, pal. Welcome and thank you. So let's take a look. I think we got a... look at what happened here. Seth subscribed as well. Oh, I saw that. I can't believe I actually saw it when it happened. Huzzah to the summer! Huzzah! Thank you, Seth. Appreciate you joining us. And I appreciate the support. Thank you very much, sir. All right. So are you guys ready for this? You guys ready for the dozen? Let's get started. Okay? And I want you to think about the games that we had from last year and compare them to this year and ask yourselves, are me and Popo going to be pulling our hair out by the end of the month? And by the way, I can't tell you how many relationships I'm severing by not being able to play video games for a month with people online. It's not going to be easy. No lights, no phone, no motor cars, not a single luxury. It's 12 NES games for 30 days. I believe February is 30 this month. It begins on a Saturday and it ends on a Saturday. And it's me and my buddy Popo. Okay, so let's see. Without further ado, our first game. Funny thing about last year's lot, we saw things like Ultima, Pinbot, Legacy of the Wizard, Mission Impossible, a good smattering of genres. But you know what was really missing from last year's Dirty Dozen? Racing. Aside from Cobra Triangle and maybe a couple levels in Mission Impossible, there was absolutely no racing. In fact, there were no land vehicles whatsoever. So for a whole month, no racing. This is different. This we're actually kind of making up with this dozen. And we start right here with a personal favorite of mine. One I played the heck out of as a kid, and the big sell was it was 4-player. Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road. I think this is probably my favorite racing game on the system. Mainly because it's 4-player. And also because it's trucks and mud. I got such a kick out of this one. It was a blast.
How do you like me now?
I love you. Oh, you cut out right in the middle of the now. I don't like you now.
Oh, no.
And you cut out in the middle of the no. Can you stop downloading videos? What are you doing over there? Stop the bootleg business for one night.
Eat up. Or.
Poor Popo, he's trying his best out there. Check the two cans with the twine. Make sure there's no knots in it. Okay, make sure that's a straight line.
Yeah, come, Popo. Coming. Texas. Oh, yep,
Yeah. We're coming at you. You actually sounded good there. So as long as you just stagger what you're saying, I think you'll be all right.
I think we're
screwed. We're screwed. I think we're... Great arcade game, Super Off-Road. It was. And it was good on the NES, too. Mainly because it was 4-player. So, I don't know if this game is beatable. I don't know. I never played it that much to ever beat it. But man, did I play the heck out of it. But the question here is, we know Super Off-Road is great. The question here is, who exactly is Ivan the Iron Man Stewart? You ever really think about that? Who is Ivan Iron Man Stewart? Do we know? Well, I happen to find a little video. In fact, it turns out that our man Ivan Iron Man Stewart just last year was voted in, awarded, what's that called when you're put into a Hall of Fame? He's in the Motorsports Hall of Fame in 2019. So let's see a little action real quick from our buddy Ivan the Iron Man Stewart. All right? Let's get it started. Popo, this goes out to you, baby, with your crippling...
He's no Al Unser Jr.
Hey, watch it. Watch it. It's fighting words here. All right, here we go. Here's Ivan the Iron Man Stewart. Induction into the 2019 Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. Let's all raise it to Iron Man. There's our man. That's who we'll be racing against throughout all of February. 84 desert victories. 10 championships. Look at this guy. Look at these trucks. Come on.
This looks like just going to the store.
Is that right? So you'll be ready. You'll be ready for this. 3 Grand National Sports Truck
Yeah,
titles.
I played this game. It's called Wednesday.
Wednesday. Very good. Very good. He's not nearly as iron as I thought, but behind the wheel, he is the Iron Man. All right, there we go. Okay, there's our man, Ivan Ironman Stewart, 4-player top-down racing. Obviously, me and Popo, it's probably going to be rare for us to actually get 4 people around the old NES. So for the most part, we will be playing throughout February against Ivan and the other computer opponents. I do not know if this game is endless. Last year, me and Popo really kind of turned this into a bit of a competition. I came up with the idea of playing the 12 games for the month, but Popo had the brilliant idea of making this competitive. Each and every game having a watermark to try and beat, whether that be progression throughout the game or score or completion, things of that nature. Each game had its own goal to meet, and it really came down to the wire. Popo was the better man last year. It's going to be interesting to see how things work out here. I mean, off the top of my head, Super Off-Road, is it going to be how many races you can actually get through by the end of the month? I don't know. We're just going to have to chisel our way through the month and figure out exactly what's a fitting award, watermark, if you will, for each and every one of these games. But I'm very excited to have a racing game in the mix, and I'm especially excited for it to be Ivan Ironman Stewart's Super Off-Road. Any final thoughts on Super Off-Road there? Half thoughts, Popo?
The scoring will be how many nitros you...
How many nitros you use in total?
Total.
Okay.
You got to count them. Keep counting. Keep going.
Right. Sounds good. We'll get a little nitro mark, little nitro ticker down there in the corner. Iron Man handles any terrain, yes. Presented by Hooters. Is that right? Hey, why not? Fungi says, yeah, this game is called Wednesday. That sounds about right. All right, yeah, so now that's going to be exciting. All right, coming up next, another racing game. Yes, it's the same genre, but it couldn't be more different. An Iron Man Stewart, it's top down. You're up against 3 other bozos. It really comes down to who hits the finish line first. What's the other exciting way to play racing? Well, it's generally horizontal, and more importantly, time attack. You're all up against how well the other guy has gotten to the finish line, how fast and how well. Not Rad Racer, not Mach Rider. It is a black box, though. It's the charming and approachable Excitebike. Excitebike for the NES. This is a game I have played to absolute death. Absolute death. My earliest experience with it was I was the kid in the neighborhood with the Nintendo. I had Duck Hunt. I had Mario. My parents said it was about time to get another game. I had 2 choices. I was bucking for Kung Fu. The rest of the neighborhood was bucking for Excitebike. Peer pressure got the best of me. We got Excitebike. To this day, I'm still not sure that this was the right decision. However, you just can't deny what a great game it is. Decades later, when Excitebike was dropped into Animal Crossing for the Nintendo GameCube, that's when I really got down and dirty with this title, no pun intended. If you only have about 10 to 15 games in your Biosphere video game for the GameCube, and you play it casually off and on for 20 years, the games within you begin to get rather familiar with. So, I think I have the chops to do pretty well in Excitebike. Not pretty hard to figure out what the watermark would be for this one to take home Excitebike for the month of February. It really just comes down to time. I'm another 5 tracks. We'll have to work out the details on that. But this one would be pretty good. Popo, what are your thoughts on Excitebike?
Initial thoughts, Resident Sleep. But I think once we start timing it, I think that's going to be pretty.
Right.
It's something. Once you add speed to it, yeah, I'm ready. With time, I'm ready.
Right. Yeah. If it's just because the game itself is very basic, you don't even get to really. There's other guys on the track, but I mean they're not even in the rank. But the time factor, that's gonna make things pretty exciting when me and Popo start butting heads on that. So, how much have you played Excite Bike?
I mean, come on, a billion.
Okay.
It's one of those games
Everyone did have it. It's true, right?
It's pronounced Excite-Bike.
Is that true? Oh yeah,
Excite-Bike.
There's a big tab in the middle. You're right. No, you're right. You got me. All right, so there you go.
No, that I've said Excite-Bike for.
You said it. You've said what?
Excite-Bike. But people like to say Excite-Bike.
Really?
Like, where did you come?
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of that. You got to introduce me to these people. Oh, that's good. All right. Excite Bike, I mean, there's not much to see about it. There's not much to know. It's pretty basic. If only the NES cart had a battery back for save custom scores. That'd be nice, sure, but there's nothing wrong with, getting a Post-it note and just slapping her on the back. Right? That's how you had to do it in the arcades. Why not? We might end up having to do that.
It would be fun to be able to make tracks for one.
Right, yeah, you're right. That's definitely worth bringing up. There was no way last year to actually create anything this time around. Excite Bike, the big sell is the fact that you can make tracks. And while most people, well, myself at least, kind of shake my head at that generally, I'm not very creative. I would rather just play a game. The nice thing about the custom tracks in Excite Bike is there's basically every obstacle in the game is assigned a letter in the alphabet. So what's really fun is not to sit there and just put up a bunch of random obstacles and then race it. It's really fun to take a word and then write that word out on the track and then see how well you do. Let's see how I do on the Legacy of the Wizard track. You know what I'm saying? Very exciting. The Dirty Dozen track.
You always had the weirdest way to play things.
Oh, you think so?
The Dirty Dozen tracks.
I mean, you think about it that way, and the possibilities are endless. You know what I'm saying? It's exciting. Johnny says, track making option was ahead of its time. Even though it's pretty basic, it was crazy back then. Yeah, it definitely helped sell some copies, for sure, and help the longevity. So, not looking back at it then, it's probably the right move over Kung Fu. But, man, I did love Kung Fu. Anyway, let's show one quick supplemental video just to get us pumped about Excite Bike. It's very short. I believe this is from Robot Chicken. And apparently they did something on Excite Bike. It's pretty amusing. Let me get her queued up for you. Here she is. All right. Hopefully there's no. Yeah, I knew it. There's the big problem here is there's like ads everywhere, so I just need to get past these real quick. You guys don't even need to know that. I'll try and get better at queuing these before we get to them. All right. So here we are. Robot Chicken's take on Excite Bike. Here we are.
Ow, ow, those things are anus shattering. Overheated again? You cheap little rice burner piece of crap. Come on.
Remember those days.
Yeah, that's a weird traffic marking. Holy shit!
Is that loop in the custom?
I can't feel my legs. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, bless you. I need to go to a hospital.
This is great.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. This game.
All right, there you go. All right, coming back. Okay, so that's Excite Bike. It's going to be exciting. We'll see how this works out. We're going to get our next one ready right now. Okay, and she's good to go. Great. Okay, the next one. Oh boy, I can't believe. If you told me, look, go into that pawn shop and pick 12 games to get for the whole month, this one probably would have been replaced. I don't know how we got stuck with this one, but here it is. We picked it up merely.
Bubble Bath Babe.
It's no, we'd take that one home. We'd play 2 months if it was Bubble
Fair.
Bath Fun, babes. No. Popo and I, we knew this was coming about 6 months ago. We have we had a basic idea of what games we were up against. This one, he and I see eye to eye on. We're not looking forward to this at all. A month, Popo, with Data East Burger Time.
Yeah.
Yikes. Look, I don't know what it is about Burger Time. This game is legendary in so many people's minds. They have so many fond memories of playing Burger Time. The company that's now making 3/4 quarter arcade cabinets to scale with full art and licensed games. They were putting out a Data East cabinet last year. It was going to have Karate Champ, Burger Time, Caveman Ninja, and Bad Dudes on it. They fashioned the cabinet to look like Karate Champ, and people were so offended that it wasn't fashioned like Burger Time, they scrapped the whole cabinet, went back to research and development, started from scratch, and now they're taking pre-orders for their soon-to-be-released Burger Time cabinet. That's how much people covet this game, Popo. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man.
Popo, we're so losing you. This is terrible. I'm so embarrassed. I feel so bad. Popo's having some internet problems. Let me. Feel free to type it in, and I'll try and deliver it as well as you would. I can't do it justice, but I'll try my best. He's speechless. He is great. He's speechless. That's how truly bad it is. Burger Boss from Bob's Burgers. I don't know about that. Look, the premise is you're this chef. It's very, static, arcade, no scrolling involved. You're climbing ladders. You're running around, dropping giant hamburger patties and giant buns and giant pieces of lettuce on top of one another in an attempt to make giant burgers, presumably for giant people. Maybe this game takes place in Texas. I don't know. Along the way, to make things interesting, you're being run down by bipedal hot dogs and pickles and eggs. And for whatever reason, people can't get enough of it. Personal history for myself, I remember being a kid, 5, 6 years old, and my dad, once Miss Pac-Man kind of ran its course. They got Pac-Man in the old gas station. We'd stop there, him and his buddy, before dropping me out to daycare. They'd grab a donut and play Burger Time. It's not that exciting in my opinion, but people love it, and I guess that's good. And the great thing about the Dirty Dozen is it's converted us before. I remember last year Popo went in not excited about pinball, and by the end was absolutely adoring Pinbot, so much that he actually went onto eBay and got a complete in-box copy of it. So that's what's interesting about the Dozen, being stuck with a game that we would write off for the rest of our lives if given the opportunity. We may end up becoming incredibly addicted to the point-based competition that may happen down the line. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I had Burger Time on Atari as a toddler. Burger Time has been everywhere. It's been absolutely everywhere. Everyone knows it, and I don't know if it's just the the fact that it's burgers. I don't know if it's that big. It makes me wonder, how big is Burger Time across the pond? Or on the other side of the world, where, everybody's not scarfing down cows constantly. Who knows?
More like nap time.
Right. Look, Popo, I'm with you on that 100%. He was rolling his eyes with Pinbot. I was excited about it, but right here, common ground for me and Popo going in to the month of February. How much play Burger Time's going to get, we'll have to see. We will just have to see. But, as I said...
I got a special cart where mine are plant-based patties, so it'll be...
Is that even allowed? Okay, that's fine. You go with that. Mine's going to be 100% beef. I've actually hybrid my Burger Time copy with a copy of Mortal Kombat, just to make sure all of the meat in it is red and as rare as possible.
Mine's got soy eggs and soy sauce.
Oh God, I'm already sick looking at this game. You don't have to add to it. All right. Well, look. Despite me and Popo's opinions on the game, it's very beloved. So much so that even competitive gamers out there looking to make high scores to this day are still trying to make the best score in the world. I don't think much of Burger Time, but there is an interview that I've known about for many years about Burger Time that is one of my absolute favorites when it comes to meme-ish videos talking about these older games I love so much. This is a clip taken from, I believe, the deleted scenes. I don't know that this scene even made it into the actual documentary, but if you've ever heard of a documentary that may have a lot to do with the retro resurgence that happened about 10 years ago, you may have heard of a documentary called The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. And it's basically a story between two people who are doing their best to keep the high score of Donkey Kong. Along the way, you meet other people who are also trying to make high scores in other various games. And what we will be looking at in celebration of Burger Time is an interview with Brian Wagner, who happens to be very, very enthusiastic about Burger Time. And in this interview, he's trying to make you understand what you need to do to be successful in Burger Time. So, without further ado, I give you Burger Timeology with Brian Wagner, taken from King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. Let's take a look. This is great, by the way.
When you make a drop on Burger Time, the last thing you want to do is celebrate, because here's what happens.
Right.
When you drop them and they're going down, they're watching you. Even though they're caught, they know they're caught, they're on the piece, and they're going down, all their eyes are on you. Even though they're frozen or knocked out or whatever you want to call it when you drop them, believe me, they're watching you. Like, they're here and you're driving your car away, they're going, where's he going? Where's he going? And you think you're safe. You're like, well, I just dropped them. I did the best thing I could. I just dropped them. Yeah, not really, because they're watching you. The minute they hit the grid, if you have made a mistake in where you're going, the minute they hit the grid, they're going to split. They decide that before they even get on the board. You have to play that.
Look at how fast they're going.
Burger Time so strategically, it's not even funny. You have to have a strategy that works, and you know it has to work, because you only get one shot at it.
Okay.
If that pack, 6 packed up like that, If that decides that that's going to split, you've just thrown away a lot of points and a lot of peppers. You throw it right away. So when you,
right away.
That head
when you,
then is from
when
the
you
spot.
set up the board, you better make goddamn sure that you got it right.
Yep.
If you don't have it right, you better fix it
And
real quickly.
Fix it quick.
Real quickly.
If you group them and they're not tight, you can see that. I can tell if they're going to hold together.
Yep.
I can tell. And I'll I'll use another pepper to make sure they're tight.
Yep.
Because I don't want any surprises down the road in the game.
Exactly.
It's like building a house and the roof's not on it and it's going to rain tomorrow. It's not a question of should I do this? It's a question of I have to do this.
Now, here's the scary thing about Burger Time. Once you've made up your mind that you're gonna go through with this, no matter what, you're stuck because they're coming and you're halfway across the piece, and they're coming. You only got one chance to get it right. Yep.
Brian Wagner, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Brian. Much appreciated. Much appreciated, Brian. Popo, say again for us, please. I'm only getting your first word, Popo. I'm so sorry. Why don't you give us a reboot, buddy? Try and come back for us. Brian Wagner, everyone. Burgerology. People are saying this will be Popo in 15 days. Could be. Look, guys, we don't have to put any of these in. Okay? But you can see the strategy, the serious investment that some people have in a silly game about stacking burgers. So we'll see how much play. We'll see how many burgers Popo and I make in Burger Time. Pretty easy to figure that one out. That'll be a straight score situation there. Is there an ending to Burger Time for the NES? Who knows? I really don't know. That's the interesting thing about this dozen compared to last year. It was very easy to identify what games had a finite ending in the last dozen. A lot of these, because many of them were arcade ports, I don't know. But there are games like Gyrus that in the arcade were adapted, changed from the arcade to the NES. The NES one being a little more robust because they were intended to be bought for a set price and then sat down and played, whereas the arcade, they were generally trying to get you off the machine within 3 minutes. So how do these games like Burger Time change from the arcade? We're just going to have, or Super Off-Road, for example? We don't know. It's unknown territory. We're just going to have to find out. Were they talking about Burger Time or Nom? I just got the news. Where's the Dirty Dozen at? We're just getting started. We're 4 days away from it at the time of this broadcast. It will begin February 1st, right at midnight. You've still got time. You've still got time. Nice to thank you for joining us. Synchronizzle. Did I pronounce that correctly? I think so. All right. Speaking of arcade games, boy, am I excited about this one. If I wasn't excited about Burger Time, our next one, being stuck with this one for a month, more than makes up for it. I'm not exactly sure how invested Popoandduck says. The arcade guy says, "Get you off in 3 minutes," and my mic wasn't working. Cool. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know how Popoandduck feels about this one, but I am pleased as punch that we found this for $2, and I am pleased as punch that it is one of the games I will be stuck with Popo for all of February. I give you Mindscapes. I don't think it was made by Mindscape, but it was released to the NES. Road Blasters. Road Blasters. The power to rule the road. Oh, yeah. I mean, the box art alone, tell me you're not excited about this. We've got a pretty, sleek-looking red car there, and he's blowing the horizon away with a ceiling-mounted machine gun. Pretty awesome stuff. Huh? Even the name, Road Blasters. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We got some racing here already, but do we qualify this as racing? I don't think so. I think that this is, pardon my opinion, but this is Rad Racer, but interesting. Could we classify this as vehicular combat? Could we? It's skirting the edge. It's skirting the line, for certain. It's somewhere in that sweet spot between racing and run gunning and action. It's a great mix. From what I remember, there are somewhere around 30, maybe even 40 or 50 different levels. You're basically traveling from point A to point B lying somewhere on the horizon. There are enemy cars, oil slicks, and also fuel that must be gathered along the road to be able to progress. But don't worry, you're not on your own. There is generally some sort of helicopter or aircraft that comes along that eventually, or now and then, drops an upgrade onto your ceiling so that you have more power to rule the road than simply your on-board machine guns. I can't tell you how excited I am about this game. Even when I first got it, years ago, loose, used, dirty, for a few dollars, probably $2, even back then, I popped it in and absolutely loved it. I loved it in the arcade, and the NES one is no slouch whatsoever. I'm very excited to try and actually beat it after all these years, and I'm relatively sure that there's at least an ending to the tracks. It may not just say, congratulations. It's an arcade game. These games tend to wrap around back to the first level. But even if I could just make the wraparound, I'll be very happy. There is an arcade, or there is a score here, so that can obviously add some competition. Pretty easy way for us to create a watermark to track me and Popo's head-to-head progress throughout the month. But me personally, I just want to get to the end of the road in Road Blasters. That's going to be... I've been waiting months on this one, guys. I've been waiting months to really give this one a go. 8-bit vehicular combat, hell yes, absolutely. I like your Mexican wizard hat. Why is it Mexican? I mean, I'll take it. Nice to see you, Hetero. Thank you for joining us. Get out of my way, Mountain. Right. That'll show that, Mountain. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very excited about Road Blasters. Certainly a gender bender. You're going to need great racing skill, but you're also going to need to be a good shot. So it's going to be interesting to see if Popo and I will be able to attack the game in different ways. He's played a lot of Rad Racers, so I'm not going to doubt his skills when it comes to weaving and dodging and making to the finish line. But I think I may be a better shot. So it's going to be interesting to see where things play out in Road Blasters. Road Blasters for me, man, the power to rule the road, that is nowhere on the cart. I'm not even sure that line is on the box. I don't have the box. We don't know for sure. But I'll tell you one thing. I didn't learn Road Blasters, the power to rule the road, from the game. I learned that from the toy line that I believe this game is based off of. It's kind of a gray area, and I didn't look it up, but I first remember hearing the term road blasters from a Mattel commercial where they were basically, it was a line of Mattel cars, but in addition to just getting a car, they added little upgrades that you could put onto the car, like, armor. You've got a pickup, but let's put some plastic armor on it, and maybe a mounted cannon or something. They were awesome. And they had a great tagline, Road Blasters, the power to rule the road. But I don't think I can do it justice. So please let me treat you to a commercial I always looked forward to seeing back in the 80s. A very quick take on Road Blasters by Mattel. Again, was the arcade game made to sell toys? Or was there some sort of tie-in with the arcade game? Let's throw in some toys. To this day, I don't know. Maybe as the month goes on, we'll be curious enough to learn about the lineage of Road Blasters as we are blasting all over the road. So without further ado, let me just show you a quick commercial from the toy line Mattel's Road Blasters, the power to rule the road. I believe I'm ready to go here. I am. Let's check it out.
Road Blasters, road machines with power to race the ultimate race. With shields and weapons, you attack to fight the ultimate fight.
Look, the Motor Lords! The Turbo Force is stopping!
Your support team is ready for action.
Clear the way!
I'm ready for action.
We made it!
Oh, yeah! Wait.
Snap-on accessories new from Matchbox.
Hold on a second, Matchbox. Look at that shot. How many times do you think it took to get this shot? They're excited about it. I love that. That's so Mad Max. One Matchbox car cutting off the other one. We gotta make these toys look exciting, guys. Yeah, we won. The power to rule the road!
With Snap-on accessories new from Matchbox.
Awesome. So looking forward to that. Popo's saying those toys are pretty cheap. Yes, they are. To this day, it's actually interesting. I should have bought one. Coming up to this reveal and analysis, I apologize, I forgot to. They're really not that expensive, but we simply didn't have the time to get it shipped on time. To this day, you can still get a on-card, which means in toy terms, sealed. You can still get a sealed copy or a Road Blaster, some of the more common ones, for somewhere around $20 to $30. A loose one, practically pocket change, somewhere under $10 if you look around. So Road Blasters, the power to rule the road. Popo, he bought he was so excited about Pinbot last year. I said again, he bought a complete in-box copy of Pinbot to celebrate it. Who knows? Maybe one of us will be enthusiastic enough to get ourselves a Road Blaster throughout the month of February. Grown man spent a whole afternoon shooting that. Yes. God bless him. Time well spent. Synchronizzle says, I don't know, man. Popo loves flaunting his dogs in Dark Souls. Does he? I didn't know he had dogs. Gender bender? Don't you mean gender? Did I say gender bender? In this case, I would call this a gender bender. Look, you got action here, you got racing, you got shooting. What would you classify this just on its own? Vehicular combat was not a term when this game came out. So, there you are. All right. Mashed Potato Tower says, I don't care about you and Popo. I'm getting a high score either way. Well, we'll see. We'll see, my friend. Feel free. Anybody out there? Hey, he's back. There he is. You're just in time to comment on Road Blasters. What do you think? I mean, come on. If Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road looked like Texas, I mean, this has got to be like, south of Lubbock. I mean, I didn't even know where Lubbock
Pretty
is.
close, man. Just shoot. If it's moving on the road, just shoot.
Right. I think there's like landmines. I don't know if there's any civilians in Road Blasters. I don't think they did that. I think you can. There's some bulletproof cars. I remember that. But for the most part, you can just spray and pray, baby. And that's how we like to do it. So I'm excited. All right. Let's see what we got next on Popo and I's hit list. Look. We're stuck with 12 NES games for a month. I can't emphasize that enough. And looking at what we've got so far, they're all arcade games. Many of these games were designed to be played for like 3 minutes. We're going to be stuck with these for a month? So, man, were we lucky that we did find a game with some teeth. That we found a game with some legs, if you will. This is a game I played all the way through back in my formative days. And with the exception of, I believe, one session with an NES Classic, maybe about a year ago, I have not played since. I have a feeling that Popoandduck and I will certainly be enjoying our adventures through this one, and I think you will too, as he and I embark on our Final Fantasy. How about this? What was this doing in a pawn shop for $2? We got real lucky on this one, guys. If we didn't have a role-playing game to sink into for the month of February, it would have been really, really rough. I believe Popo said there's going to be a lot of soldering streams coming up in the next month. I can foretell. Right. Well said. Well said. I don't know what I'm going to be doing to fill time, but I hope this one will help us along the way. The exciting thing about Final Fantasy for the NES is the fact that you can make your own party. I believe there's 6 classes, and you can only take on 4 people for the entire adventure. So there, right out of the box, you're leaving 2 classes behind, or maybe even 3 or 4 if you decide to bring more than 1 class. I believe, you know what, I take it back. I haven't played the NES version since it was out decades ago, but I believe I did play it again on the Game Boy Advance, and that was my second and only other time through. And I believe that time through, I took in 3 white mages and a red mage, and popped all the way through the entire game. Had a blast. I don't know what I'll be approaching. I haven't even thought about my party this time around. Popo, Final Fantasy, you know your way around it. Do you have any idea what kind of party you would put together at the moment?
We just left 2 classes behind.
Right.
I don't know. I've never really given that game more than 30 minutes, so it's going to be interesting to see. I may even just let like a 6-sided die to.
Oh, really? You may just throw it up the chance, huh?
Just fuck it, dude.
Sure.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to approach it. You could always do the viewers who happen to be in there at the time. Rolling dice, old D&D style, would be an interesting approach. Maybe creating a legacy team, maybe a bunch of party members that you're fashioning from modeling after a book or a piece of literature. I have no idea how I'm going to approach it. I'm hearing 4 fighters here from Shervor. Jay here says 3 whites and a red. Snazzy, thank you. It was quite a trip. 2 whites, 2 reds. You know what I'm not seeing here a lot? Not a lot of people offering up the black belt. And if I can at least to give you a primer that I remember from all the way back in the Nintendo Power days, Popo, a lot of people consider the black belt class, while it sounds very exciting, to be the class that tends to level out a little too early in the game. So take that from what you will. I'm just putting us on a level playing field out of the box. There you have it. Take that with what you will. Yes, very interesting. It's good. We've got Jay here saying, no, the black belt is overpowered. Save the money for it. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe these opinions have changed as to how the black belt works. But everyone's 6-shooter choice for the party. Oh yeah, right. 6 shooters and a 6-sided die. Sure. I can see everybody piping up about Final Fantasy for obvious reasons. There's certainly a legacy there, but there's a lot to be said for the personal style and decisions that are made right out of the box, and decisions you will not be able to make or change later on down the line. There is no respecking when you play Final Fantasy for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Triple Bait, I'm seeing you say something about Road Blasters here. Was big into vehicular combat games when they were produced, as was I. Getting back to Road Blasters, that term had not been invented yet, so we'll see if it matches that genre. I'm willing to bet it is. Final Fantasy 1 is the bomb. Yes, I agree. I'm very excited to dig into it. I'm more excited that we have it to fall back on. If we're sick of trying to beat the other jackass's score in Burger Time, I don't want to be faced with that for the month. So at least we have, a big open world to explore, adventure, magic, monsters, and mysteries to tackle throughout the month. Popo, do you feel you're going to beat this game in the month of February? Final Fantasy for the NES.
I'm gonna give it the old college.
Giving it the old college try. Sounds good to me.
Which means I'm gonna wait till the last bit and then stop, and then live around for 7-8 years.
Right. I understand that. Sure. Give it the old 7-year try. All right.
A lot of people go to college for.
Oh, I loved it. Best 7 years of my life, baby. Why am I not still in there? Can't I just sign up for another degree? Come on, FAFSA, make it happen. So much dungeon variety in Final Fantasy 1. That's what I love, says Jay. Jay himself actually is working on a 16-bit RPG, very similar in style. So if anyone would know, it's our friend here, Jay. So yeah, Final Fantasy though. Here's generally my problem with RPGs. I love RPGs. I love making the decisions. I love putting together a cadre of members who have to work together in order to be successful. I love the sights, the sounds, the monsters, the adventure. My biggest complaint with RPGs, though, tend to be their lack of replayable things to come back to. I always thought that, why doesn't every RPG not have a chessboard in every town? Or an archery range. I think that there should always be some sort of distraction to take you away from the ongoing adventure. And it seems like a lot of RPGs, and players for that matter, don't seem to prioritize that to the level that I do. So, when I was
built-in Archon.
Yeah, put Archon in there. Are you kidding me? Come on! You telling me you can't put Archon in there to every RPG? I know it's licensed. Meet me halfway. Put chess in, for God's sake. That's all I'm saying. God, could you imagine Archon in an RPG, Popo? I'd never put it down. I absolutely love that. Final Fantasy IX at a card system, that kind of thing. Dragon Quest take casinos, says Jay. Right, you're off on the right foot. We need to see more of that in RPGs. And from my recollection, I don't remember Final Fantasy I ever really stressing that. Now, I could be very wrong. It's been a very, very long time since I've seen or played the game. So if there's side quests, if there are replayable minigames along the way, I'm very excited about that. And I'm hoping that happens. Fishing minigames, says Mashed Potato Tower. Absolutely. That's the kind of stuff that I enjoy in RPGs. But as for Final Fantasy, as far as I know, it's more of a story-based grinding exploration adventure. However, Popo, as I was preparing videos to look at for this game, there's plenty to see with Final Fantasy, but for the most part, people know what to expect. I found something, though, that I didn't expect, and it's right up the alley that I speak of. It's something I'm going to share with you, since I know. And it appears to be an Easter egg that when I played through, if I knew, I've forgotten throughout the sands of time. But apparently, Popo, like many RPGs of this nature, you can attain a ship. That's not a big spoiler, because the starter castle that you form your party in, there's a dock right outside the castle. Now, there's no boat there, but it stands to reason eventually you can at least have some seafaring voyages. Apparently, though, Popo, if you get the ship, there is a game on the ship. So if you get on the ship and hold down the A button and start pressing the B button over and over, eventually you'll be able to access a puzzle game. It's similar to these kind of sliding puzzle games that you may find at the dentist office or on the table of a restaurant to wait for your order, give it to the kid or something. I'm going to show it to you now. Popo, you can do whatever you want. I myself will be looking away as I show this to the viewers. You guys can feel free to see how this is done, but this is merely just to give you an idea of something, one of the many secrets we may uncover in Final Fantasy, and I, for one, am happy to know that when I'm done, trying to uncover the mysteries of this world and trying to save it, I'll be able to spend a little time on the ship sliding tiles trying to solve this puzzle. So, without further ado, I give you guys the mini-game puzzle on board the ship in Final Fantasy for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And of course, I haven't queued it up yet. Like a noob, this will only take a moment. Please spare me a second.
Should have been a cowboy.
Right, we should have been. All right, here we are. Once again, the puzzle that is located on the ship in Final Fantasy for the NES. Here it is. And again, I'm looking away for this one. Here we go. You're seeing the starter castle here, and that ship, I guess eventually you can get a hold of. The party has just made their way to the ship. They've held down the A button, pressed the B button again, and if you do that long enough, this is what happens. Now, I don't know how good this guy is at this, but he manages to solve the puzzle in 1 minute and 9 seconds. Is that a world record? Who cares? It's basically going to come down to how well Popo and I can do it. And I don't know exactly how you would gauge who wins quote-unquote Final Fantasy. This may be one way we start. Who knows? We'll see how the month goes on. This guy's got to be done soon, right? I picked the wrong video. Turns out it takes him 8 minutes. All right, pal. Congratulations. There you go. That's Final Fantasy. Popo, any thoughts on that or Final Fantasy in general?
Not really. That one's I'm excited for, but I'm also kind of, people have told me it's a long, so I just hope we're not like halfway through it in one of the bad.
Right, the battery issue is a huge situation. Keep in mind, Popo and I are not using ROMs for this. We are not using any sort of save states or digital support. This really harkens back to a time where you have a cart and you were walking a tightrope. and you were building a house of cards the further and further you got into a game. A game like Final Fantasy, if you lose your progress, it's like obliterating a universe, and you're back to scratch. Yeah, you're right, Popo. And to be honest, I mean, I think I've had this copy for many, many years. Generally, the batteries work depending on how many times they've been saved on. A game like Final Fantasy, you're generally saving often, but you're not as saving often as most RPGs these days. I'm not sure if you knew this, Popo, but you can only save this game if you're in an inn. You cannot save it in the middle of a dungeon or even in the world map. Well, maybe the world map, but I don't even think that's possible. I believe you have to save at an inn. So there's always going to be that slog to get to that next dungeon just to have the chance to go deeper and deeper and defeat the evil within. But yes, Popo brings up a very good point. It would be very devastating to spend hours on this game only to fire it up live and find that we've lost our progress. Yeah. Yeah. Well put, Popo. Well put. All right, well, let's see what everybody's got to say here. Mashed Potato Tower says, just will have to warm it up once a day just in case. By warming it up, you mean putting it in the Nintendo? Schnizzle says you can save it with a tent in the world map. That's true. I forgot about that. Thank you. Yes, we'll have a lot to learn as we go on. But we just can't save just whenever we want. So there is a bit of a challenge there. Nintendo Power spilled the beans on the puzzle for me, says Shervor. Okay, it's been so long that I think I forgot that until I was setting up videos. But yes, I think you're right. These puzzles are very common in RuneScape. That's cool. See, any RPG that gives you a little bit something to spend your time with other than grinding, I'm very into it. So, all right. Yeah. After Popo's very real statement on the battery situation from Final Fantasy, we definitely need to pick me up from there, and I think we got it. As far as I'm concerned, knowing Popo, and I don't want to speak for him, but if I had to be a betting man, I would say the next game in the stack is the one he's most excited about, or at least I think the one he may be going back to the most. We'll see. But Popo's always been a big fan of platformers. We have one, as far as the stack is concerned, I believe, at least one that was made exclusively for the NES, designed for the NES. One with some legs and some challenge, and some heart and humor. Tiny Toon Adventures by Konami for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Popo, you've played this one. What do you think?
I'm excited at this one. I'm excited I've never actually sat down and, I mean, since I rented it, but I haven't sat down and tried to actually beat it, and who knows how long. So this one.
Right. Me too. I'm excited about this one too. I don't know how long it'll take to beat, but I know that it was made certainly after Super Mario Brothers 3, and it was practically they practically took the building blocks from 3 and tried to use adapt it for this license. So it's a very it looks beautiful. Looks very confident. You're not just going on a straight platform at all times. There are slopes and valleys, and there are multiple characters that you can use. Kind of got that Castlevania 3 aspect where you can bring a character along the way, press the select button, and switch to them, and kind of give you a little more of an overall package on what you can do as you go along in your adventure. So I'm pretty excited about this guy. I know I've played it and have died many times. So we'll see. Princess Cece says, loved this as a young girl. Yes, excited to see how things play out here. Mashed Potato says, these games are not dirty enough. We can work on that. Believe me, as we're touching them over the month, the dirt will collect, so don't worry about that. You don't think you have this one? Yeah, well, I think we were pretty lucky as far as platformers go to get this one. It was made late, so it's very competent. Made by Konami, so we know it's got a lot of heart. They're generally very good when it comes to licensed games. They make them very appropriate to the license. And it's one that Popo and I really haven't dug too much into. As for how this is going to play into competition, I don't know. Me and him are going to have to figure that out as we go. But this is an exciting one. As for the license, Tiny Toon Adventures, obviously this is a spin-off or a reboot of the Looney Tunes, something I grew up with as a kid. Tiny Toons, I believe I may have been in my early 20s, late teens when it came out. And at the time, I wasn't very impressed. Popo, you're a few years younger. I think you've talked highly about this. What do you think about the licensed Tiny Toons?
Loved it.
Loved it.
Loved every minute of it. Loved that.
Great. So this is a license that you'll be able to look on fondly as you go along. That's great. This is kind of like if we had an advanced Dungeons and Dragons game in the mix. I would be very excited for that license. So while I'm kind of in the middle on here, it's good to know that we've got Popo here to really sing its praises. While I was not a particular fan of the show, it's no slouch. And I do remember, I think that it really kind of made its mark as a classic show when they ran a particular episode, or at least in my mind. It was an episode that everyone started talking about when it started making the rounds and everyone started talking about it. If you're, obviously most of us are familiar with animated cartoons, and if you're familiar with the Looney Tunes and even Disney to a certain extent, some of the strongest, most memorable moments that the Looney Tunes went through was when they didn't talk and just made a montage of a story based on a familiar song that we could all relate to. In the case of Looney Tunes, those shows being made in the 40s and 50s, a lot of the songs that they adapted to montages were famous classical pieces. The two that come to mind for me is when they did Flight of the Valkyrie. I believe Fudd was like a Viking, and Bugs was kind of like what's the word that the girls are called in Vikings? Not Valkyrie. Maybe it is Valkyrie. We'll go with Valkyrie. And that they play out this whole love interest, and eventually Bugs is dying, and it's all played in sync with the Flight of the Valkyries. The other one that I can think of is the Barber of Seville. The Bugs does some sort of Barber of Seville thing. So there's a whole bunch of them that I think it helps Looney Tunes become what it was. Tiny Toons did its spin on that. However, they did it with more contemporary songs that people of a later generation would recognize more. I remember Babs Bunny did one with Aretha Franklin's Respect, the actual song sung by Aretha Franklin, but lip-synced by Babs, and obviously the animation playing out a story. They did a couple of oldies kind of stuff. I Want Money, That's What I Want. A few of these, and they were all good. But I think the one that I remember being like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is something I haven't seen a lot. They played a video, and they did a montage, and they took a song from a band I'd never heard of before called They Might Be Giants. And while a lot of these songs that they were making montages of were more like rockabilly or rock genre, They Might Be Giants was a band that was more from that kind of 90s rock nerd, for what better for lack of a better term, genre, like Weezer or even Devo. I think Devo was on its way past that, but those kind of like anti-rock gods who were rock gods. And the first time I heard this song on Tiny Toons, I was extremely excited about it and really liked it. To this day, I'm a big They Might Be Giants fan. So, but I hadn't heard them until I saw them on this Tiny Toons song that I'm about to play for you guys. And like I said, it kind of made waves. Kind of made waves back when this happened. So let me play for you guys. Do you remember this at all, Popo?
Not the Tiny Toons. I remember watching a Dragon Ball Z recut to this song, but not Tiny Toons.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I believe they did two songs. They did Particle Man, and they did Istanbul, Constantinople. I believe they did Istanbul, Constantinople first. And frankly, I was very torn as to which one to show you guys. They're both very good. But in the end, I had to give it to Istanbul, Constantinople. I believe it was the first one they did. And I don't know. Maybe it's just the Middle Eastern accordion. I don't know. For whatever reason, this one really got to me. So, and the other exciting thing about it is, it's not the Bunnies who do this one. It's Plucky Duck and Hampton the Pig. They star in this. And I've always been more of a fan of ducks, no pun intended, over bunnies. So without further ado, please, let me give you Tiny Toon Adventures' take on They Might Be Giants, Istanbul, not Constantinople. Oh, I didn't mute it instead of play it. Here we go. This is awesome.
Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople, been a long time gone. Constantinople, now it's Turkish delight on a moonlit night. Every gal in Constantinople lives in Istanbul, not Constantinople. So you would think in Constantinople, she'll be waiting in Istanbul. Even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way. Don't take me back to Constantinople. No, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul, Istanbul. Istanbul, even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way. Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks.
That's them being They Might Be Giants there.
Constantinople, no, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul.
There we go. There you go. Istanbul, Constantinople, courtesy of Tiny Toon Adventures. So there you go. It's got some comedy. I don't know. Maybe I'll get into watching this over the last year we were playing Mission Impossible, so I was watching that as the month went on. I'm not nearly as excited about Tiny Toon Adventures as far as a cartoon goes, but as far as a platformer that we need to be stuck with, or that we'll be stuck with for a month, I think we could do a lot worse than Tiny Toon Adventures by Konami. So there you go. Let's see what everybody's going to say. The Triangle Man, right. It was very hard to not pick Particle Man for this. We can't play everything. If you liked that, please do yourself a favor, go onto YouTube and look up Tiny Toon Adventures Particle Man. It's the other They Might Be Giants they did. It's an excellent montage. Really good. And again, I can't stress enough, it's really neat that they pulled from a band that virtually no one from that audience knew about at the time. Everyone got Aretha Franklin or whatever. Most of the stuff they played was very recognizable. But They Might Be Giants, man. Nobody knew. And at least, in my time. And they're legendary today. So there you go. My favorite TMBG is Dr. Worm. What's a TMBG? Max.
They Might Be Giant.
Oh, you're right. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Popo. I'm glad you're there. Somebody's got to have some brains around here. Shield Maidens, Female Viking. No, it wasn't Shield Maidens. Broomhilda. That's not right, but that's the word I was thinking of. Valkyrie's much more on point. Sorry. Wasting everybody's time here. Okay. We're halfway through the stack, so we better start moving. High Speed is our pinball game. This was picked from a 6-sided die last week. There's about 6 games on the NES. We got stuck with High Speed. I think if you're going to get stuck, this is a good one to get stuck with. Made by the same company who made Pinbot. The theme is not nearly as exciting. I think, Popo, you'd agree with that?
Yeah.
Well said. He got a yeah. We got a follow from Princess Cece here. We better give her a thank you. Oh! Thank you for following. Welcome aboard. Yeah, made by Rare here. They did a really good job on Pinbot. It stands to reason on paper. This one should be even better. It was made later. Made with more money, right? They had enough money with Pinbot. Let's make a sequel. Here's the problem with High Speed. It's just boring. The setting. I believe you're playing, and we can even just look at the video now as we're talking. Basically, I'm just showing you what the pinball, the actual machine looks like. I've got some video here of it. Quiet you. Hold on, let me just cue her up to about here. And so, yeah, basically, it looks like it's a very competent table. It's just the idea of outrunning the cops. I don't know. In comparison to you're out in space with playing, pinball off of basically a robot, a robot pinball machine. Much more exciting in my opinion. But again, when we first played Pinbot, well, I knew it was going to be good, but Popo's first time wasn't excited. I'm not that excited about this one. Maybe as we get to uncover the differences. I'll tell you one thing that's interesting about this one in comparison to Pinbot. There's that third flipper there. And here's to take a look at. Probably won't see this when we're playing the NES game, so it's good to take a look at the montage now. I actually mistaken this with the second game called The Getaway. I thought that there's a lion and a tiger playing the officers. It's not. It's just a couple of officers, but you're in this Lamborghini here, presumably with your hot girlfriend, and you're running red lights and then trying to outrun the cops in order to score points. So I don't know. This one, who knows? This may be a better game than Pinbot, and no one's given it a chance. We'll just have to see. So there you are, Pinbot. I'm sorry, High Speed. Popo, any half thoughts? Poor guy can't get a full thought out, so I think he's taking a hammer to his Discord right now. RIP headphones. What, did I blow you out with that? Sorry about that. Look, it's Cars. What do you want to do? Not as good, I think, so far. Tumbleweeds, yes. Rare, I don't know why they had to do this with video game pinball, but they always seem to put some sort of video adversary that wouldn't be on the actual pinball machine. In Pinbot, it was like this alien that would actually eat your ball and crush it. In this one, there was a tumbleweed that if it grabs your ball, it will send it right down the gutter. Is there a way out of that? I don't know. Popo managed to find his way around the alien, and that really helped him excel in score last year. Will he be able to do the same with the tumbleweed and High Speed? We're going to have to find out. It says here, world's #1 pinball. Did Pinbot say that? I don't know. But there you go. Always good to have a pinball game in the mix. They're just very replayable. Don't judge a book by its cover and think you've known a pinball game until you've actually gotten your hand around a couple of flippers. It's a very good time. Happy to have it along. Another thing I don't think we had one shooter last year, Tiger Heli. A good game, but not much to look at. This one, I don't know if this is much to look at, but it's different from Tiger Heli in that I think there's more to it. But it's a different, at least the skin is different. Tiger Heli is about a helicopter. It's gritty. You're blowing up, basically military bases and tanks. That's definitely my speed. That's what we would call a shooter. This one, on the other hand, would probably fall into the cuter or cute 'em up genre. It's Stinger. By all accounts, a very good game. It's just over-the-top cutesy. And not generally my cup of tea when it comes to setting. But the game looks great, and it's also 2 players simultaneous. At the end of the day, the skin doesn't matter. It's the variety of gameplay, the options you can do, and whenever you can play with a friend, that certainly blows the one-player game out of the water, in my opinion. Generally, it is also made by Konami. I wouldn't count out Tiger Heli's company, Taito, as far as shooters go. They're very competent, but Konami, as far as Nintendo shooters go, they really raised the bar. Is this going to be as good as, say, Gradius or Life Force? Is it not talked about as much merely because you're playing a stupid, cutesy-looking spaceship with boxing gloves? I don't know. I do know that this game's got quite a legacy. It's called Twin Bee, across the pond. Probably even around these parts nowadays. But back then, Twin Bee was not the kind of game title that would sell games as far as Konami was concerned. So when they brought it over here, they called it Stinger. Technically, this is called Twin Bee 2. It's the second game in the series. We did not get the first. I'm excited to play it. I'm very happy with the genre. I love this genre, but God, why did it have to look like this? Maybe I'll learn to love it as the month goes on. Let's take a look at a little bit of gameplay. There's not much on this that's that exciting. It's a shooter at the end of the day. This game sucks. I don't know about that. We'll see. I mean, it's 2-player. That right there is cool. We're going to have a friend over to play at some point. We'll see. And it's made by Konami. And there are, frankly, a lot of people out there who like Twin Bee. So we'll see how it grows on us. The only thing, just to go over the top with the cuteness, I just figured I'd show you a couple of commercials that ran in Japan. This game didn't get any press out here, that's for sure. Nobody was spending marketing dollars getting this one out the door. Okay, they weren't getting the word out here in America about this guy. But in Japan, it had enough of a legacy that they were playing a couple commercials. I'm going to play you two. They're very quick. One is 30 seconds. The first one we'll be seeing. And that actually deals with not this game. It's Twin Bee 3, which was also available out there. But then we'll show you a 15-second commercial called Twin Bee 2. Could I have just shown you one? Yes. But both of them are absolutely incredible. You just need to see them. So, without further ado, let's take a look very quickly at Twin Bee. The company that made Blades of Steel, yes, that's Konami, absolutely. So cute, it'll rot your teeth out. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. We'll have to see. Outrun Pinball would be sick. I agree. This is high speed's about as close as you can get to it. High speed looks fun, but Pinball's personification was seductive last time around and hard to beat. Yes, absolutely. Robots versus cars, absolute snoozer. No competition. In any event, let's get to the Famicom. Sorry, let me just do a little queuing up here. The Famicom commercial for Twin Bee 3, and then we'll go straight into the Famicom commercial for Twin Bee 2. Otherwise known as Stinger here in the States for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Here it is. Oh, can I get a little more volume on that? Here we go, that's better. If you thought the headphone thing was a problem before, get ready. Here we go. That's a ship I'm going to be stuck piloting for a month? How am I supposed to take that seriously? Colorful and wacky shooting. I don't need that in my life. Alright. There's Twin Bee 3, and then let me give you a little Twin Bee 2 here. Wait for it. Oh. Can we see him one more time, please? Oh, shoot. Oh, man, this thing's fast. Give me that one more time. Please. They're having the time of their lives. Remember those days, guys? Come on. Pilot Raz, age 11. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Twin Bee. Look, I love the genre. I'm very happy to see some shooters in here. To see a shooter in here. Played a lot of Tiger Heli last month. We'll see how much I enjoy Stinger. We'll see. We shall see. Let me fix this here. Next game here. Pretty excited about it. It basically makes up for the cuteness factor. They're smoking the bonsais. Yeah. Basically makes up for the cuteness factor. If I ever need to wash that Stinger cuteness out of my mouth, I can play Akari Warriors. An SNK game. Very exciting. Two muscle-bound, sweaty doofs running through muck and water, picking up weapons and tanks. They're not picking up weapons. Well, they're picking up weapons. They're picking up, ammo, grenades, two-player action. The game looks awful, but let me tell you, we had this in the neighborhood, and boy, were we happy to have it. Apparently, I don't think I knew this as a kid, but there's a continue code to let you continue from where you left off. It's very easy to use, and I think that that's going to be especially helpful to me and Popo because we've only got so much track to run on, so to speak. So this will be interesting to at least be able to tool around with and have fun when we want to just blow away some soldiers and drive some tanks. Come on. Very exciting stuff. This game's got action. It's approachable. It's over the top. It's made by SNK, very strong developer. What it doesn't have, though, is character development. Maybe in the manual they tell us who these guys are, but we don't really know. So while I could show you some gameplay for the game, I thought it would be a little more exciting if we actually saw got a little more character development as to who these guys are, so that we can be a little more invested as we play it through out the month. At least get a couple of names for these guys. So what I've done is I dug around, and I came across a Mugen fight. If you don't know what Mugen is, it's basically a fighting game where they incorporate everyone under the sun from every fighting game ever and hack them all into one crossover fighting game love letter. So everyone from Ryu from Street Fighter 2 to, I'm not kidding, Tom Hanks himself are all found in Mugen, and hundreds of other characters who have or have not been in a fighting game. The match we're about to watch right now is a Mugen fight. Just to give us a little primer as to who will be playing in the month of Ikari Warriors. I have not watched this entire video, so frankly, I don't know who wins this match of Mugen. But I will tell you, it's a 2-on-2 fight, and it is the two Ikari Warriors. I don't even know their names, and they are actually fighting the two main characters from another SNK fighting game, another SNK game you may be familiar with, a Run and Gunner, basically SNK's take on Contra, Metal Slug. So, place your salty bets. I don't know how this is going to run out. I don't know who's going to win, but it'll be a best of two match, 2-on-2, tag-in format of the Ikari Warriors versus the Doofs from Metal Slug. I give you Mugen. Once again, who's going to win here? Metal Slug or Ikari Warriors? I don't know who I'm going for. I'm going to root for the Ikari Warriors, right? We got it. We're going to be stuck with them for a month. Here we go. Ikari Warriors on the left, Metal Slug's on the right. Ralph Jones. Okay? Is Ralph the player 1 Ikari Warrior or player 2? We'll say he's player 1 for sake of argument. You know, the Ikari Warriors, aren't they supposed to have guns too? They seem a little, they're getting blown apart. I mean, Metal Slug's got a tank. There we go. Now we're talking explosions. There you go, Ralph. Way to wake up, pal. I can't believe we're going into the second hour here. I'm sorry this taking so long. We're almost done. 3 more games. You guys gotta know where to be, right? Come on. Ralph, watch out for the tank! Did he just puke blood on him? These Metal Slug guys come prepared. Okay, that was definitely blood. That was definitely blood. Alright, Metal Slug takes the first round. But it's not over yet. Here's our other Ikari Warrior. What's his name?
And the battle continues.
Clark Steele. So I guess Ralph would be me, since he's got a pirate rag on his head. And Clark Steele here would be Popo, since he's got a cap. Are we allowed to pick when we play Ikari Warriors? Alright, Marco, I believe Marco keeps going until he dies. So that's why he's so hurt. But he's doing okay against Clark here. Whoa, Clark. That's got to be it. How is this guy still standing? All right, here we go. Now we're talking. Don't mess with Texas. All right, Akari Warriors take the next round. Anybody's match here. Oh, here's the other Metal Slug guy, I guess. What? No guns, Bill? So this is it. This is a fair fight now. Clark's got full strength. Anybody's game here. Whoa! What is that? Oh, pull out the mech, pal. Totally fair. Look at it, it's Trevor. Trevor, right? Did I do it right? Hope so. I really like the, I like a guy who grapples. What can I tell you? Oh, he's doing it again. There we go, Clark. Come on. Finish this punk off. Oh, he's going for it again. I think he's going to hit. Oh, my gosh. No. Oh, that was good. Empties a clip and then finishes it with a shotgun. Oh, look at that. I'm rooting for Akari Warriors, but man, Metal Slug's got the moves. Oh, oh. Double Uzis! Oh, Clark, you better pull something out. Oh, he's got him! This doesn't take off nearly as much health as you'd think. I'm really impressed by how well Mugen plays these days. I mean, they've been at making this fighting game for like 30 years, so... Oh, this is anybody's game. Oh! Oh! I think he's got him! Oh, dude, he dropped on... Ah! Huzzah! Winner! Very good, very good. Nicely done. What was his name? Get him, Clark. That was good. That was good. All right, Akari won. Our boys won. Who are those guys in Akari Warriors? Trevor. Right. Oh, in Akari Warriors for the NES, it's Paul and Vince. Can we call him Rolf? I'm going to be invested in those guys now. Paul and Vince. That's wonderful. I call Paul, I guess. I don't really call either of them. But those are my options. I used to think Maximum Clark was named after this character. Is that right? I always wondered. No, it's not, is it? It's. I know what he's named after. National Lampoon's Vacation, right? Good stuff. Ex Mortis. They only fight with guns on the battlefield. I guess so. Akari Warriors, they were trying to keep it classy there. Metal Slug came to win. That's what you get for fighting dirty. Guys, I'm so excited about this next one. I think this one I'm probably most excited about this one out of the whole stack. I'm probably going to be extremely disappointed. But last year we had a movie license game. It was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Big fan of that movie. And the game turned out to be quite fun. Fun adventure. This one, different genre. That was like an action RPG. This one's our other shooter. We've actually got two shooters in the mix, which is wonderful. Because this one, unlike Stinger, which was, cutesy crazy, this one's gritty. And this one takes place in space. And I think we needed that in this stack. We needed a game that took place in space. There's just too many terrestrial games going on here. We need to be able to get out there. You know what I'm saying? And this one's going to do it for us. I'm pretty sure it's terrible. And that really disappoints me. But I don't know much about it. I don't think I've ever played it. And I'm willing to bet Popo has not either. So this one is really going to be going from scratch. It is based on a movie. And it's based on a movie that each and every one of us gamers can totally get behind. It's about a guy who sees a video game sitting in his trailer park and begins to get really good at it. So good that he gets the high score. And that's when he realizes this is not just some video game. This is a recruitment tool. And once he hits the high score, He is then picked up by a ship and brought to the outer reaches of the galaxy in an effort to save it. Doesn't that sound exciting? Don't you want to be that guy? Well, we get to the entire month, for better or worse, in the month of February. I give you Mindscapes. Mine's got a little bit. Remember that rattle? I haven't heard that in a while. Wow, that's nostalgia talking. I got a rattle. I give you Mindscape's The Last Starfighter. Wow, I'm excited about this one. For better or worse, baby, it's a shooter. It's another shooter I'm going to be able to go to. It's a StarCraft. Come on, man. I can't wait. Now, we're not going to be looking at the gameplay of this. We'll wait till the month. But I want you guys to get invested. I want you guys to get excited about the prospect of being a guy that just started out playing video games and eventually ended up saving the galaxy. This was a movie, so obviously there's some trailers out there. And while they do the game justice, or do the story justice, I actually happened to find a fan-made trailer. Someone who really liked the movie, obviously, and took the time to put together a trailer that maybe a little more serious in tone, but I think if you see it, you're going to be like, oh yeah. I'm ready to get into the cockpit. I'm ready for this. All right? So here we are. It's the fan-made trailer of The Last Starfighter. We're starting it here because this is just adorable. It says the following fan trailer has been approved for everyone who loves 80s science fiction. Note, the 80s was arguably the greatest decade of sci-fi films. All right, looks like this was made by a guy named Tim Gonzalez. Tim, thank you for the help today. I give you guys The Last Starfighter.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Klodan Armada.
Listen, Centauri, I'm not any of those guys. I'm a kid from a trailer park.
If that's what you think, then that's all you'll ever be.
Things change. Always do. The thing is, when it comes, you gotta grab it with both hands and hold on tight.
Tell me that wasn't awesome. Come on, man. Come on, man. Cord cutter. Nice to see you, Bill. For better or worse, man. I don't know what this game's going to be like. I don't know if it's going to be a colossal disappointment. If anything, that would be fitting. It's one thing about old games from that era. They didn't necessarily live up to the license they were made on. But Jesus. During the month of February, we get to try and save the galaxy. That's what it's all about, guys. That's why we play games. And if there's any of the games in the stack here that I want to beat Popo on, if I want to take home at the end of the month, I want to be the last Starfighter. Even if I don't win the month, I'm going to be bucking to be the last Starfighter. Let's move on. Now I feel like watching it again. Right. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It really is. Will we have a movie night companion cast of this? I've thought about that. I have thought about that. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. We'll see where these games take us. I don't know. That's a great suggestion, though. I'd love to watch it. It certainly would fit in with what we're doing here. So, Kevin Castlehood, Prince of Mullets. Yes. Yes. Thank you. How many games are left? We got 2 more. 2 more and then we're done. We'll make them quick. The final one, second to last one here, is a black box title. Many black box titles have played to death, of course. Many of us who are fans of the NES are. This one, however, I've never played. Never played, believe it or not. And I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It actually has Mario in it, which is interesting. And if you play 2-player, I believe 2-player is Luigi. Never played it before. I don't know what this... it's anyone's guess. I don't know if Popo's played this either. It's Wrecking Crew for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And look, on paper, I think we need this. This is going to be very cathartic for us. Who doesn't love a video game where you blow things up? Right? From what I understand, there's bombs. You got a hammer. You're knocking stuff down. Arguably, this is the closest thing we have in the stack to a puzzle game. And on top of it, much like Excitebike, which we talked about 6 hours ago, it also has a custom level building type game. Now, last year, Popo and I did an athletic competition day where we played all the events in Track and Field 2, and whoever made the most events wins. That was a lot of fun. I actually was able to win that. I just edged him out on that one. With this lot, it's a little harder to come up with that kind of event, but what I've been thinking about was, wouldn't it be neat if we could make some sort of custom event where we build custom levels in Wrecking Crew and Excitebike. I'd like to make some sort of tiebreaker third game. I don't know what that is yet, but I've been rolling that around in my head. Wouldn't it be neat to make a custom level event? So this game adds a lot to what we need. It's a game I don't have any experience of. It's always nice to have a new game in the mix for me to discover, and the custom, we can have some fun with viewers. They can give us some names, like Burger Time, for example, the level, and see what kind of custom level we can make through that. If that's even how you make custom levels in this, I don't even know. I know literally nothing about the game. I have not played it. So, as for what we're going to show for a supplement, what do we got here? I think it's just... oh, yeah. It's as Japanese as they come. This is obviously not a game that was really, sold out here in America. I don't think it ever had an American commercial release. But just to give you a taste of how the game looks, I have a blurry, low resolution Japanese Famicom commercial for Wrecking Crew, just to give you a taste of what we're expecting. It's the puzzle action black box game for the dozen. I give you Wrecking Crew on the NES. So he's blowing down doors here. It looks like he killed that ladder. He's got a bomb. All the bombs blew off the whole floor there. These kids are having the time of their life. And then they're building here too. Sadly, it's not 2 players simultaneous. I was a little disappointed to hear that. Right, Nintendo Crew. I love Nintendo Crew. All right. You paused? Please pause. Pause. Okay. What do I got? A sale here? Oh, there's a sale at Penny's. All right, let me just queue up this last one here.
I'm a serious gamer.
Are you really?
Guy on your left, watch out.
Sure you are. All right. Get that queued up. I should have muted it. Looks like Load Runner. It does look like Load Runner. I don't know if it plays that well. We'll see. This game, favorite level on Smash. Yeah, Wrecking Crew, I do know that there was a level made. A serious gamer coming through. Yeah, we love those serious gamers, don't we? We love them. That's what makes me sell a product. Is if or buy a product. If the promo makes sure that I know that the guy selling it is a serious gamer. Thank you. Thank you. Who knows what he's selling, but I'm sold. Yeah, Wrecking Crew's got a level there in Smash, so it's not a totally unheard of game these days. But as for the actual game itself, I don't know what to tell you. We'll see if I love it. We'll see if I hate it. I bet Popo's going to like that one. It looks like it's up his alley to me. Final game that we're out of here. We got a lot of arcade titles here. I got one more. I remember playing the hell out of this on the Coleco. I remember loving it on the Coleco. I'm not looking forward to it now. But, again, it's a classic arcade game that a lot of people can get behind. It's Q*bert. Okay? It's Q*bert. I think the reason people like this game is when he gets hit, he swears. It's basically kind of Pac-Man-esque. Instead of eating up dots, you're having to travel from platform to platform on a pyramid of sorts, different levels, turning the platforms from like yellow to blue. If you manage to change the color of all of them, you advance to the next level. I do know that this, being an Ultra game, Ultra, Konami, when they moved arcade games over to the NES, they generally made finite endings, which is nice. And I know that this one is no exception. In fact, I remember reading in the manual, I'm not kidding here, I'm paraphrasing, but I know for a fact that in the manual it says, if you manage to get Q*bert through all of the mazes, he can then leave the time warp he's in and then return to the real world so that he can be like a stand-in for Don Johnson. Don Johnson played the title character in Miami Vice. I'm not kidding. Read the manual. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basic. The fact that Q*bert's standing in for somebody in Miami Vice. That's what they wrote in. Nice localization, gang. Anyway, a lot of people find Q*bert very endearing. He actually had, some breakout success. I mean, he had his own cartoon. He was also made a cameo in Wreck-It Ralph. Those are both... I found good scenes there, but I think that this one scene... I think it's a good way to wrap us up. Leave it strong. Make you endeared to Q*bert a little bit. This is a clip from the climax of a movie called Pixels, made by Adam Sandler about 5 years ago. Basically, aliens take on the persona of video games from the past and come down to invade Earth. This is the final battle. Adam Sandler plays an old, washed-up video gamer. His buddy, Kevin Jones, plays and I'm not kidding, the President of the United States. And they are tasked with taking down a final challenge in order to save the world. They have a couple of video game allies along the way. Maybe just one. But the one ally they do have is the beloved Hubert. So, for better or worse, we're going to end with Pixels, a movie that most gamers can't stand. But this last scene, look, it's got Hubert in it. It's either this or you watch the stupid Hubert intro cartoon. Trust me, that's just as bad. At least we'll be endeared by... this will endear us to Hubert just a little bit. You ready? It's the final game of the Dirty Dozen. Hubert, I give you a scene from Pixels. Here we go. Key this back up to the first second. All right, here we are. Again, Adam Sandler, Kevin James, and Hubert trying to save the world in the last challenge they have to do to defeat the alien race that is invading. Here we go.
Donkey Kong.
One game you suck at.
Yeah.
Where the hell is my mom?
Where the hell's my mama? Look, I kind of like this movie, alright? I'll tell you. Leave Billy Madison alone. There's our hero, Hubert. Pixels is actually a lot of fun. I agree. Look, I agree. After queuing this up, I actually want to sit down with it again. This is what's going on outside. Look, there's the egg for Burger Time. Hopefully we'll... Hey, there's the Burger Time chef. What's his name?
Only one way to beat this game.
Pepper. Meanwhile, the challenge... Hubert. Come on, how can you not get behind this? Are you this good at Donkey Kong? Hubert, look out! He really should have swore there. That's my only complaint about this scene. Is Gino in this movie? I don't know. Who's Gino? Is he related to Hubert? I love that shot of the whole...
I don't want to die. I couldn't even beat Eddie Plant.
Eddie Plant's a cheater. That's why he was so good in New York. He used cheat codes. He did the same thing to you when you were kids. You know what that means, right?
I'm the Donkey Kong champion of the world.
And the Donkey Kong champion of the world doesn't need patterns.
Reset button.
That's a bad line. Reset button! I'm using that this month. Here comes YouTube blocking us for playing this song. Hubert's okay! Hubert's not okay!
No, I'm pretty sure he's dead, Maddie.
This versus Wreck-It Ralph, hard to say. Very hard to say. Actually, I do like this movie, so I don't know. Wreck-It Ralph's great though. Probably Wreck-It Ralph. I agree, Retro. They also could have done a lot with that game. Wreck-It Ralph for the Wii. You should be able to go in all those worlds. They should redo Wreck-It Ralph as a game. Make an open world. They never put that kind of money into that license, though. They don't need to.
Grab onto my mighty hammer.
You love saying that.
Yes, I did.
Another bad line. paper boy gets blown up. I like that.
I've been waiting to do this since 1982.
Get him, baby. Reset button!
Are you okay? Yeah. You were so awesome down there.
My second favorite president. You know Obama's still my man, right?
All right, there we go. You know Obama's still my man, right? There you go. Guys, that's it. We need to wrap it. I am so sorry this went so long. I think last year went an hour and a half. This is 2.5 hours. Sorry. Popo, I feel bad you couldn't had some internet issues. It's coming, guys. We're 4 days away from February 1st. This doesn't exist. It's all going away. Okay? Well, it's not going away, but we're not touching it. You understand? For 30 days, Popo and I up against it. 12 NES games. That's it, guys. No mobile, no online, no modern, no lights, no phones, no motor cars, not a single luxury. It's going to be crazy. And man, can I not wait. Here's the exciting thing. February starts on a Saturday. And more importantly, it ends on a Saturday. Last year there was a competition to see who could win the most games. Popo managed to beat me out by one game. The final day of February took place on a weekday. It also took place on a Thursday, and if you are a fan of the show, you may know we tend to do our voyages on Thursdays. So, it was quite busy during that time, that final day. Not to mention I couldn't stay up to get down to the last minute. Things have changed this year. Both of us, technically, should be available to play the Dirty Dozen all the way up until the final minute of February. Technically, as we stand here now, we will have every single last moment of February available to make our scores the best they can be. And it won't be until that final minute that the winner of the Dirty Dozen this year will be decided. And it'll all come down to the commitment between me and drive between me and my friend all the way down there in Texas. Tell me that's not exciting. I want to thank each and every one of you for spending time with us today. I want to thank each and every one of you for imagining with us today. And I look forward to seeing you in February along with the Dirty Dozen. We'll see you next time.